This is something that has been on my mind quite a bit recently, and I want to make a video about it to try to help you learn from my mistakes a little bit in regard to research and how to approach research and what to prioritize. Now, if you are a veteran player, this video may help you, but depending on how much money you've invested, how far along in your progress you are, it may not be very much... there may not be very much value here for you, but obviously would love for you to stick around and watch anyway. But I just want to put that out on the front end that if you have invested a lot of money, if you're a veteran player, then it may not be worth your time per se, because you've kind of already progressed through a lot of these hurdles. But if you are either a brand new player or a player that has not been around for a super long period of time, then maybe I can get this video to you before you maybe make some of the same mistakes that I did. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back. I hope each and every one of you are doing wonderful. I hope life is going well for everyone. Like I said in the intro, this video is going to be hopefully to help you prevent some of the same mistakes that I have. And now when I say mistakes, I say that lightly because I don't think that anything I've done has been like drastically harmful to me or my development as a player in Warpath, but I definitely think had I gone with a little bit of a different approach, I could have benefited a lot more and a lot sooner. So I want to try to help get you guys on the right track from some of the mistakes that I have made, but I also want to be upfront and just let you guys know that if you are a veteran player, if you have invested a lot of money and you are very developed in your technology, then this video may not bring much value to you. So feel free to, not watch, but if you do want to, I would love for you to, of course. But especially if you are a newer player or somewhat into the middle stages of the game in Warpath, this video is absolutely going to be geared to you. And if you guys enjoy the Warpath content here on the channel and want to see more of it continue to roll out in the future, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already so you don't miss any future uploads. Let's try to get this video to at least 150 likes. And if you are a new player in Warpath or new-ish to Warpath and you think this video might benefit somebody else, I set a goal for myself and for the channel at the very beginning of 2024 to help as many players in Warpath as I possibly can, and I have obviously not faltered or strayed away from that goal and that objective. So feel free to pass this video around to anybody that you think might benefit from it, so that way they can hopefully learn and get some value as well. So with all that being said, let's go ahead now and jump into our research center and let's actually talk research and technology. Now, if you've been following the channel for any length of time, you guys know I have a ton of new player specific content. And some of that new player content is based upon and really focused on research and technology, specifically what to do in the very beginning stages of Warpath with your research and what to focus on, what to prioritize. This video is going to be more as you start getting your foothold in the game, you start to get into that middle stage, maybe early, late stage of the game as you're transitioning into some Theater of Conquest event stuff. That's where this video is going to start to take place. So again, if you have not already seen those beginner videos around research and technology, those kind of guides, I would encourage you to go do that, especially if you are a brand new player in Warpath. That is going to be a really good starting point for you, because what I'm going to be talking about in this video will not be relevant to you for a little bit. So you need to watch that first. But if you, again, are at the middle to late stages of the game, this is where this video is going to hopefully bring some value to you. So we all know the importance of industry, of basic military technology, of city honors. These are your basically three main pillars right here, and then followed by basic city defense. These are, if you want to just break it all down and simplify it, then these four right here are your four very basic, very foundational pieces of research and technology. But that is not going to be our focus, because we know the importance of these right here, especially these three, the industry, military, and city honors, how vital those are. But now, once you guys get those maxed, and of course you will, then we've got to start talking about advanced combat, advanced city defense, and then also modern war, because they're going to start to roll out pretty quick after each other. And then you've got to start making some hard decisions on, okay, well, do I focus on this? Do I focus on that? Do I spread my tech around to multiple different things? And that's where it can get a little bit complex. And as I've always said, you do not need to focus on, worry about, or invest in your advanced combat, your advanced city defense, or your modern war technology, especially since it is a war game, specifically your advanced combat or modern war technology, until you have your basic military technology 100% maxed and completed. Do not do any of the other stuff until that foundational military technology is complete. Now, let's jump into advanced combat, because this is where the conversation is going to start. So within the advanced combat, we have the 4 main troop types that we can invest and develop our technology towards. We've got infantry, tank, artillery, and airplane. Of course, airplane is going to include both fighters and bombers. Tanks are going to include all of the tanks, whether it's a light tank, medium/main battle tank, tank hunter/helicopter, super heavy. Anything that falls within the tank umbrella is going to be included in that. Same thing with artillery, anti-tank gun, the actual howitzer, rocket launcher, all of those fall within the artillery category. And then obviously infantry is self-explanatory, and there's just 3 infantry types, one from each of the 3 camps. And so that's kind of where we're at. Now, here's where it gets hard, because everybody, I shouldn't say that. Let me rephrase what I said. Most people run more of a, what I call a hybrid or a balanced setup, meaning they've got 1, 2 tanks, couple of artillery, and maybe an anti-tank gun. Or maybe they run a couple of tanks and 3 artillery. Maybe they run 3 tanks, couple of artillery. There's different variations of that. And then obviously there's now been a whole big uptick with infantry. So a lot of players tend to run at least 1 infantry unit. Now, that's not the majority of players, but a lot of players do run an infantry unit of some form. So we've all got these different unit types, and we all want to have them as strong as possible, right? That's pretty pretty universal like want, if you will. And we've obviously all got some kind of Air Force unit, whether it's a bomber, a fighter, or multiple bombers, multiple fighters, whatever it may be. We've got units developing in all of these different categories, so we've got to make a hard decision on which unit type specifically do we want to invest in. And this is where, looking back at it, I could have done it a little bit better. Now, do I regret what I did? No. But has it cost me a little bit of pleasure, so to speak, within the game? Has it cost me to really struggle a little bit? Absolutely. So what I did, and you guys have heard me say this before, I am of the belief, and this is not just in Warpath, this is pretty much with anything in life, I take a look at what everybody around me is doing, because most people will all head in one direction. Whether that's the right direction or not, pretty much everybody will follow the leader, so to speak, in one direction. So I tend to take a look at that, and I see whatever direction everybody is heading in, and then I'm going to head in a different direction and do my own thing. And I took that approach with my research. And again, I don't regret it, but I also want to help you guys, especially if you are a free-to-play player or a very low spender, to not maybe go the same route as I did. So what I did is I went with airplane, okay? Because everybody, for the most part, when advanced combat tech first got introduced, pretty much everybody started investing in tank and artillery tech, and then pretty much neglected airplanes. So I'm like, okay, great. Well, that's going to give me an advantage, because yes, I spend a little bit of money in the game, but I'm by no means a whale or a big spender at all. I'm more on the low side of spending for sure. But I was looking at that like, okay, if everybody's going to invest in tank or artillery research, then I'm going to invest heavily into my Air Force. So that way I can set myself apart and really gain an advantage in the sky. That was my thought anyway. And if you're brand new in Warpath, you won't know this, but if you've been around for a little bit of time, you're absolutely going to know what I'm talking about, and the fact that Air Force technology is way more expensive than infantry, tank, or artillery. So I went all in on my airplane tech. I fully maxed it out, and what I started to notice, even though that my airplane technology was maxed, is that I thought I was a big dog, and I did have some success with my Air Force, but what I noticed is there was still just too many whales, if you will, that had 2 and 3 fighter planes that also had max technology that could fly in their fighter. And even though I had one fully maxed out fighter plane and I had fully maxed out advanced combat plane tech, they would fly 2 or 3 of their fighters in and just chew mine up and spit it out. And then on top of that, I had not invested anything at that time into my tank or artillery tech. And so I was suffering tremendously on the battlefield in the ground game. I was getting pretty much no production out of my tanks, pretty much no production out of my artillery, and very minimal to average production out of my planes due to the number of whales that were just overpowering everybody in the air. And so what I would encourage you to do is when you, and this is obviously there's exceptions to every rule. If you are a massive spender, then just max out everything. I mean, that's easy enough, right? If you just really want to be the big dog on the block, so to speak, then just invest in your technology and max out everything and all is good. And then you're going to be really strong in all areas. And that's that. But if you are a free to play or if you are a low to mid tier spender, I would highly encourage you, even if you do like using the Air Force units, whether it's a bomber, a plane, or a fighter plane, or if you kind of flip flop depending on the situation between the two of them, I would still encourage you to invest in tank or artillery first. Max out your tank or artillery tech first, and whichever one you go with is going to be dependent upon which one you enjoy playing with the most. If you enjoy artillery the most, great. Invest in artillery. Even if you're like more of a defensive based, like turtle player, if you will, artillery is probably going to be your choice. If you like to run around in army groups, if you like to lead army groups, if you like to get behind enemy lines and snipe reserves, whatever your kind of preferred play style is, go with tanks. Whatever makes the most sense for you, I would just make sure to invest in tank or artillery first and not invest in your airplane. Or if infantry is your thing, then go with infantry. But Air Force or airplane technology is just so much more expensive and time consuming to do that I would encourage you, again, unless you are a big spender, to stay away from Air Force until your other tech categories are completely maxed out. Now, jumping over into our modern war research category or research tree, which obviously is going to come after your advanced combat. You've got the same 4 categories to invest in. I would encourage you to take the very same approach. Whatever you invest in and whatever you max out first in the advanced combat, I would then immediately transition over to your modern war research tree and then focus on maxing out that same research branch. So if you went in on tanks for your advanced combat, I would then immediately, once that is 100% maxed, I would encourage you to jump over to modern war and focus on nothing but tank until it is fully maxed, and then go back to advanced combat, pick your next preferred category, whether that's artillery, infantry, or planes, max that, jump over to modern war, max it, and go back and forth and back and forth. Whereas I went all in on airplanes, which took me a long time. By the time I got done with airplanes, most players had already maxed out completely their advanced combat tank and artillery tech. So then I had to start from the very beginning on tank and artillery tech. And then I got hit with modern war tech, and I'm still working through advanced combat. Everybody else has already moved on to modern war, and then I was playing catch up for a long, long time. And I have thankfully gotten over that hurdle now, and I have caught up and surpassed players in a lot of ways in regards to tech. Again, I'm speaking in just generalities here in basic terms, but it took me a long freaking time to get caught up. And so if I can prevent you guys from having to take that time and to have to jump over the same hurdles I did, then that is, of course, what I'm hoping to achieve by this. And then the last point of discussion here, your advanced city. I mainly do that just for, certain days, whether it's city honors or battle honors. I am starting to definitely invest in some advanced city defense, but unless you are a defensive focused player, which there are some players that is where their bread and butter is at, that is what they love to do. If that is you, then definitely advanced city defense would definitely be in the conversation. If you prefer to be in the open field fighting, whether it's with your tanks or artillery or infantry or whatever else, or even if you're a base-to-base player and you find yourself, generally speaking, being on the offensive or attacking other bases in a base-to-base situation, then you can probably just leave advanced city defense to the wayside for a little bit, passively invest on it as you can or as you need to. But that is the kind of blueprint I would follow if I had to redo it again. Knowing what I know now, that is kind of the blueprint, like I said, that I would follow for advanced combat and modern war. That's going to wrap us up for the video, but if you have stuck around and hung out this long, if you guys have access to Discord and are not already in our community Discord server, the link to that is going to be in the description of the video. Click on that link. It'll take you right into the community server, whether you are a new player and have some more questions, want to learn, have more research questions, whatever it may be, or if you're a veteran player and just want to come hang out, get to know more people in the community, it doesn't matter. Absolutely everybody is welcome. Hopefully this video helped. Hopefully it brought you some value. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch the video today, and we'll see you on the next one.